the way I move. First you slide, then you boom. That's a couple on you. Oh, watch the way I move. Oh, watch the way I move. Oh, watch the way I move. First you slide, then you boom. That's a couple on you.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I can no longer hold my horses. I know some of you guys probably didn't get a chance to see the movie, but I highly recommend that you guys stop what you're doing and go watch this movie in the theaters because it needs to be a theater experience. I watched this from my home and the experience was similar, but not the same as you guys watching it in the theater. Now, I will also leave in my description box, ladies and gentlemen, a website just in case you're not comfortable with going out to the movie theaters. Maybe you don't have enough money, or maybe you're still in your pandemic phase and you're not ready to go out and about. I will leave a link in my description where you guys can watch this film from start to finish, and you can also watch TV series and other things of that nature for free on the website. No ads, no bullshit, no signups or anything like that. Check it out in my description box. Anyway, let's talk about this film, ladies and gentlemen, because like I stated, I can't hold my horses anymore. This is everything that you want from a Marvel merger film and more. And the reason why I'm saying a merger film is because this is bringing over Fox characters into the current stasis of the MCU. And the reason why I say the current stasis is because when you think about everything that's leading up to this current phase, you got Kang's situation, you got Doctor Strange's situation, you got freaking Agatha situation going on, you got freaking Scarlet Witch situation. So there's many breadcrumbs right now leading to this fantastic situation that we got currently going on right now. So cameos. Let's first talk about cameos. So many people speculated certain actors and actresses were going to appear in this film, and I was just waving left and right. Okay, I think this person's going to appear. This person's not going to appear. It's not going to make sense. And when I seen the cameos, ladies and gentlemen, oh my god, I kid you not, you're going to freaking scream. Blade is a massive cameo. Elektra, a massive cameo. And then on top of the cameos, you got name mentionings. So there were physical cameos and then there were name mentioning cameos. And the cameos have more than just a cameo feel. You know what I mean? They are cameos with an emotional story and baggage, and you feel for these characters. You think of Blade, the first Marvel character to be introduced, and you see him on screen once again, and it just hits you. You know what I mean? If you grew up watching any of these films back in the days, you know, Blade, Fantastic Four, X-Men, you know what I mean? Daredevil. If you grew up watching any of those films back in the early 2000s when you were a child, seeing them here in Deadpool and Wolverine is going to bring you back to that childhood time. And man, the nostalgia just hits you, and it's just super emotional, and it's beautiful. It's incredible. I'm telling you, watching it from home had a similar effect to watching it in the theater, but the grander stage is obviously the theater. You know what I mean? The bigger screen, the popcorn, the candy, the festivities of the people and the crowd. You know what I mean? You need that sort of ambience when you're watching this film. But man, oh man, like I stated, the cameos were just more than cameos. You know what I mean? And the one person that I did not expect to see was actually in the movie for a brief second, and that was Henry Cavill. Our DC Superman appeared in this Marvel film as a Wolverine variant. I was just freaking blown away just looking at all of the people just being able to spot the difference. Like, I'm literally watching the film and I hear someone just like, "Oh, that's Henry Cavill," and I could not. When I say this, I'm being completely honest. I could not tell under the disguise that that was actually him. But the voice, I heard it and I said, "Oh shit." I was not expecting him to be a variant. People were speculating about this and it actually was true. So he was one of the Wolverine variants. And when we talk about variants, ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, not only do we get a bunch of Wolverine variants, but we do get the introduction to the Deadpool incorporation or Deadpool. I don't even know what you're going to call them, but they're Deadpool Wolverine variants. And it was a lot of them. And it was fantastic. I think my favorite Deadpool variant had to be Nice Pool. He was just so genuine, just so nice, and he died in the most horrific way. And I know I'm spilling a lot of the beans, but like I said, I can't hold my horses on this, you know what I mean? But his death was just unexpected, but hilarious, you know what I mean? You got our current version of Deadpool telling Nice Pool that he's gonna live. You know what I mean? You're gonna survive through this. We're gonna get you out of here. And he ends up being the only pool out of the entire bunch of variants that doesn't have the healing regeneration factor. And speaking of healing and regeneration, oh my god. Deadpool and freaking Wolverine are like top tier. It's almost hard to be able to find a way to kill them. Now we've seen multiple ways of, Stryker trying to kill Wolverine back in the X-Men days, the silver bullet to the skull. We've seen many different, ways of trying to kill him, but this film just really just like solidified and showcased how badass and almost damn near immortal these two characters are. Because Deadpool, with the ability to regenerate his limbs and, you know what I mean, just to be able to heal up quickly, almost on the scale of Wolverine, is freaking insane. And that's showcased throughout the film because they spend almost like damn near half the movie just fighting with each other. Like, this is the fight that you wanted to see. You wanted to see Immortal versus Immortal, and we got it. It was just fantastic, incredible. And speaking of, like finding ways to kill them, you even seen in Deadpool's second film with him, exploding himself. He just comes right back. And like they mentioned in the movie, they're like cockroaches. You know what I mean? You can step on a cockroach sometimes and they still wiggle and still move. They still have a little bit life in them. And that's what these guys are. They're like immortal Marvel cockroaches. They cannot be killed. And speaking of cannot be killed, the final act of the film, these guys had to literally join forces in order to save what is known as the sacred timeline. And when we find out what Earth these guys are from, it's actually interesting. So our current stasis of the MCU is Earth 616. You have Deadpool coming from 10005. I believe that's his Earth. I could be wrong, but they kept mentioning that number, so I feel as if, maybe he does come from that Earth, maybe? Because like I stated, it's a merger. So Deadpool, all of the X-Men characters, Blade and Elektra and all of the other people, even Gambit as well. Gambit was there, which was really, really cool. These guys were all, on, quote unquote, different Earths and stuff like that. And they have their own sacred timelines and things of that nature. And the TVA is going to be a mind fuck for a lot of people to understand. Just, when you're trying to think about their job and their responsibilities, you're looking at it and you're just trying to, understand it all. Everyone has a sacred timeline that needs to be protected. Any other timelines, basically, they have almost sort of like no meaning to exist. So, from time to time they do prune those timelines, but they're in a new they're in a new status of, adjusting the way that they handle things. And that is courtesy of the ending of Loki season 2. So, yeah, you guys might want to watch some of the side projects. I know a lot of people, they like to say, "Oh, I don't want to go watch, WandaVision. I don't want to watch you know, Loki. I don't want to watch Captain America and the Falcon." But those side projects, they're going to have a tie in to what you guys are going to see in the future phases of Marvel. So right now, things are tying together. We're going to have a lot of Secret War stuff. We're going to have a lot of Captain American Falcon stuff coming up. And then, of course, we're going to have Hulk and a bunch of other Hulks running around. Speaking of which, Red Hulk appearing in the trailer for Captain America. Sign me the fuck up. I swear to you, I can't wait to see that film. And like I stated, cameos. Hulk makes an appearance in here, when Deadpool's bouncing around trying to find the perfect Wolverine. So yeah, that was really, really cool. We didn't get a chance to see the fight between Wolverine and Hulk, but don't worry, that fight is gonna come soon. I don't know how soon, but it's gonna happen. If we got Deadpool versus Wolverine fight, we're definitely gonna get a Hulk versus Wolverine fight. I kid you not. Let's also discuss this Wolverine that you guys see on the screen right here. What went wrong with his universe? So, according to him, he left the mansion and basically wanted to do his own loner stuff that he does. You know what I mean? He's always going off and doing his own things. And, Charles is there and always wanting him to be a part of the team. And you get that message with his explanation when he's explaining to Laura what happened. He finally spoke and basically broke it down what happened. So him leaving the X-Men behind, it caused a situation in which he could never undo. You know what I mean? Like, is no matter what he does as far as like in forms of torture, there's nothing that he could have done to prevent it. You know what I mean? What happened happened. But yeah, he ended up leaving them, dry. And humans, this is the part that kind of like made me mad. Humans end up killing the entire X-Men. And he went on a killing spree basically after that, just to release anger and, sort of like torture himself. Humans. It really makes me mad because like this is the explanation as to what happened to your family. You know what I mean? Humans killed off X-Men characters. This is including Professor X. He has abilities on a grand scale that no one can fathom. You know what I mean? And then you got Beast, you got Cyclops, you got Storm, you got Nightcrawler. Like, you mean to tell me just some regular ass humans just came in there, stormed the castle, and killed everyone? There has to be a grander explanation that we're not getting right now. So this could be some sort of situation where maybe they were given weapons to take out mutants. You know what I mean? Maybe like these collars or something that neutralizes powers. Maybe they had the Sentio bots, if you guys remember from Days of Future Past. Magneto basically, put all those robots online, and then, like in the future, they were like adaptive to the powers of the X-Men crew. So it was really, really crazy that scene in X-Men Days of Future Past where all of the X-Men crew were getting slaughtered by those robots. Maybe it's that sort of situation. Maybe they had robots and they killed them off, because that makes much more sense than just regular like human beings just going in there and slaughtering an X-Men powered team. You know what I mean? That's like when you send the army to face off against superheroes. Like the army has nothing against, like they have nothing in their arsenal to be able to stop something like that. You know what I mean? You have to go to like a unofficial sort of like quote unquote powerhouse to be able to handle beings with powers. Anyway, that was his situation, and that's why they said that he was the worst of all of the variants, because he let down his universe by, leaving. And in Deadpool's universe, which is Logan from 2017, that version was killed off. And if you guys remember from 2017, there was poisoning in the food and basically everything that they were using on a day-to-day basis. So from food down to like the simplest things of like hand lotion and shampoo and all of that stuff. So it was basically it was counteracting his regeneration, and he was able to physically age. You know what I mean? Him and Charles, they were aging. They looked horrible and beyond dead. And it ends up, one day he ends up dying, and Laura was there. And conveniently enough, she was a child. You know what I mean? A creation of Stryker, if you will. And she was, longing to belong to a family and something like that, and Logan was pretty much the family that she had, and he passed away. So she was forced to, grow up on her own. And if we also talk about the 2017 era, there were other mutants as well, and they were supposed to make it to Eden, and I have no idea what those mutants are, or if Laura ever even found those other mutants and, teamed up with them and, lived together and things of that nature. But that is to be discussed in, the distant future of the MCU, which is cool. So we get to see her in an older version, and she's trying to basically figure out what's going on with this version of Logan, aka Wolverine, because this is not her Logan, this is not her Wolverine, but that bond is still there, that connection is there. So, it was interesting to see those guys, connect. And I gotta say, if, Hugh Jackman, the actor, if he is back full time, I'm not upset at him reprising the role. He did fantastic. This is arguably his best performance in the role, in my honest opinion. This was phenomenal. Ryan Reynolds, always a pleasure as Deadpool. I can't see anyone else as Deadpool. I feel as if he got this Deadpool act in the bag. You know what I mean? No one else can come in and fill the Deadpool shoes. He's comedic when you need him to be, and his breaking of the fourth wall in the films is just out of this world. Like, this film is just amazing, man. I gotta say, like, super 10 out of 10. I like, aside from the whole, killing of the X-Men, there's nothing else that I can complain about. You know what I mean? The cameos had their shine. It wasn't just like, oh, throw this guy in a scene for 2 seconds. Like, these guys had quality screen time. They were allowed to fight. They got slow motion sequences and everything. And it was just amazing. And then just them interacting with one another for like the first time. You would have thought like these guys had chemistry for years. Now, of course, some of these actors and actresses, they got chemistry off camera, you know what I mean? But as far as like working together on a project where they appear in the same movie, these guys all appeared in this for the very first time, and it was just fantastic. You know what I mean? The back and forth with Wesley, his Blade character going back and forth with Wade. You know what I mean? Like, this guy has the face and the voice, but he's not the character from your freaking series, in which I can't remember what his name was, but Ryan Reynolds was a part of the Blade franchise way back when, and then of course he got into X-Men as what did they call him? I think he was like the Annihilator or something like that, because I know he was one of those X projects of Strikers. So you had that X-23, and it was a different version back then, and then of course you got the current version. But yeah, he's been like attached to a lot of Marvel things back in the early days, but like as far as them existing and working together as a team, this was their first time together all in the same room. You got Wesley Snipes in there, all chiseled up, looking old but looking fantastic in his new Blade suit. It was like, I want to say they modernized his suit instead of, putting him back in the classic leather black suit, which was really, really cool. Then to see Jennifer Garner as freaking Elektra, oh my God, stimulating. Just, she's just super beautiful, super hot, and still in great shape. Also, this is super left field, but a lot of people that are, like sort of paying homage to characters that they played way back when and then resuiting back up just for like Instagram photos and stuff like that. Take a look at Halle Berry's post recently. She was celebrating the 20 years of Catwoman. So, yeah, she looks like she's ready to go and put the suit back on, but that's DC. They got to talk to her. James Gunn, I would highly suggest you go and talk to Halle Berry and see what's up, because she still looks great and she's beautiful. Just, wow. She just did wonders for the Catwoman character back in the early 2000s. Anyway, Jennifer Garner returning as Elektra, super hot. We also get Gambit, which was interesting because you got Channing Tatum. Like, his face is just a funny face entirely, but he did fantastic for the character in the short amount of time that he had on screen. And according to sources and people around the internet, he had a film that was in the workings back in, what was this, 2010, but it just never came to surface. So it was good to see him finally get to live out what that character was supposed to be. He was comic accurate with the outfit and the maneuverments and everything of that nature. It was just that freaking accent. It just annoys me, you know what I mean? Like, because Channing Tatum has a funny side to him, and when he makes accents and try to disguise his voice, it just makes me crack up, and it's hard to take him serious. But he did great, you know what I mean? Who else? Of course, we got all of the villain characters from the X-Men universe. We seen Sebastian teleporting everywhere. That was really cool. We do get a different Juggernaut, but we have the similar suit from the X-Men 2 era. So that was really cool. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I can't get the accent, but yeah, that was one of my favorite lines from that X-Men 2 movie, where the girl was running through the walls and she was trying to basically hide from him. And he was like, "You can't hide from me. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." He freaking was blasted through the walls. And then when he tried to blast through the last wall, got his ass handed to him. So it was cool to see him back. Frog was there as well. And the last time I seen Frog was when Halle Berry, she was Storm, and she freaking electrified his tongue, and he got zapped off of that damn what were they on? I think it was a boat or something, or a yacht. They were on something, and he got zapped and landed in the ocean. That was the last time I seen the frog character. I said frog, Toad. That's his name. Excuse me. Toads and frogs, totally different. Who else did we see? We seen Pyro as well. Pyro looking aged, but he's still Pyro, and yeah, he was there, and he was playing. Let me say, he was playing both sides of the coin. Basically, he wanted to do bad things, but he also wanted to be in the good graces and not be killed. So yeah, Cassandra Nova, first appearance ever. And if you guys don't know the lore behind Cassandra Nova, she is the twin of Charles Xavier, the evil twin, basically. She tells the story of how how she came about back in the womb, and them having this epic fight, and basically she won, but she didn't kill off Charles, obviously. But in the universe that she's from, she obviously killed everyone. And then in the void where they're at, she killed everyone as well. Which brings me to the question, her power scale, who could possibly stop her? Because she killed the Punisher, like she mentioned. She killed Silver Surfer, who is a cosmic being. She killed off Doctor Strange as well, which is kind of crazy because Doctor Strange he's magic, you know what I mean? But man, she had some serious fun, especially with the mind fucking. It was just weird and disgusting, just twisting people's brains and picking their brains and just searching through their thoughts and looking for answers. She was disturbing. She was kind of like on the scale of Wanda, how she was with her powers. You know what I mean? It was creepy. It made me freaking like scratch my skin so vigorously every time she would just like poke around in someone's head, because she would physically poke around in your head. You know what I mean? She would literally put her hands through your freaking head. It was crazy. But yeah, her power scale is almost infinite. But we do see that she was able to get shot, and she, for a second almost died. She almost died. We also see that she does have this sort of like main agenda. She wants to control everything, and that's where Deadpool and Wolverine step in, and basically they're like, all right, listen, we want to go home, and you can't just do what you want to do here. Originally, Paradox, who is a TVA agent, he's not a field agent, but he's one of those higher up agents. But basically, Paradox was quote unquote like the bad guy of the film, and then come to find out the major bad guy is obviously Cassandra Nova here, because she has her main objective. She was cast away into the Void Land because she was, like a threat. And then other people that got casted away there were quote unquote useless. Useless heroes, I guess. We do see that she managed to turn Ant-Man's entire skull of a body into a sort of like a, what do you want to call it, like an evil layer, basically. So that was kind of crazy to see that Ant-Man died as a giant in that form. That's almost insane. But yeah, you get the reunion of a bunch of counterpart characters that we haven't seen in years. Sabretooth versus Wolverine, you get that action as well, and he ended that one pretty quickly. I know a lot of people are probably a little bit angry about that because, they supposed to go toe to toe, but when you think about it, Wolverine, he should be able to top Sabretooth without a problem. So I wasn't mad at that. Now, when it comes down to the post-credit scene, we only get one post-credit scene, But the post credit scene was just basically about what Chris Evans actually said, and basically, Deadpool in this sort of sense was just trying to prove the audience that he was telling the truth. You don't get no, you don't get no, information as to what could possibly happen with these particular characters, seeing as they're now merging into this sort of like one sacred timeline universe. People were expecting a little bit more from the post credit scene, but it is what it is. But Chris Evans, you know what I mean, one of the major cameos in a film that I would honestly say he made me scream, and I know people in the theater, they probably screamed as well. Him saying "flame on," I was not expecting that. I was actually expecting him to be a like Captain America variant that was casted off to the void. Maybe he did something wrong. That's what I was expecting. But then when he kind of like jumped down and just took off the freaking hood that he was wearing, and then he just took off into the air, I said, "Holy shit!" He said "flame on." That's fantastic. Four. Johnny Storm is here. Chris Evans reprising the role from his early 2000s. I was just like, this is amazing. The cameos, once again, is just fantastic. Just everything that you wanted. You know what I mean? As far as people that didn't show up, like Ben Affleck, his name was mentioned, not like his actual Ben Affleck name, but Daredevil was mentioned, but apparently Cassandra Nova killed that she killed Daredevil, excuse me. And then of course Punisher, Frank Castle, she killed him off as well. He didn't appear. People were speculating about Thanos appearing. He didn't appear. Doctor Strange was heavily mentioned, but not named. She called him the magician, and she somehow killed him off, and she took his sling, which allows, her to basically open up portals infinitely anywhere. So that was really, really cool. I don't think there could have been any other. I don't think there could have been any other cameos. I think we covered pretty much everyone that was, forgotten about in the early 2000s, because that was like sort of the theme of why these characters were in the void. You know what I mean? They were useless and forgotten. So that's where everything is basically thrown and tossed. You have Eliath, which is like a cloud. I don't know how to discuss him, but he's some sort of like cloud that consumes all of the waste that's basically dumped into the void. So, yeah, these guys would have been toast had they not saved the day and, were able to get out of there. He consumes everything in it, in its path. So that's really, really cool. The only thing that I would say, as far as someone that should have appeared, was Loki, maybe. Seeing as he's, the god of stories now, he's the guy that's holding all of the timelines together. He's in charge of, the multiverse and the timelines. I was expecting him to show up. We got heavy mentioning name drops of Thor and nothing of Loki, which is, to be understanded, because, he's a bad guy. He ended up doing a good thing, but, people don't really talk about bad guys that often. So it makes sense. But as someone that just gotten control of everything, I would have expected him to appear at least in the TVA or in the post-credit scene of something. Him maybe just looking at the timeline and seeing what went down, and maybe him smiling and, nodding that they did something, good. I would have expected them to, put something like that in the post-credit scene, but they didn't. But the film worked out, you know what I mean? The film worked out. It had great length. Great amounts of, emotions, great amounts of humor and comedic relief with the jokes and the fourth wall breakings and everything like that. And then just all of the guest star cameos, all of the Deadpool variants and Wolverine variants. Everything just made sense. It worked well. 10 out of 10 movie. That's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Smash the like button, subscribe, comment down below. I'll catch you guys in the next video.
That was totally wicked!
I do what I just do. My mama proud of me. I hope my mama proud of me. Cause I dropped college just so I could focus on the dream. I know my mama guided me, salute me, nasty down with me. Now two bros going back and forth, sibling rivalry. This how I gotta be, the numbers like the lottery. They told us every winter, every summer, now hot as me. And if I spring up, then my nigga on the side of me, ready for war.